Can anyone keep up with the NFL offseason right now? Jared Goff is a Lion, Matthew Stafford is a Ram, Sam Darnold is a Panther, J.J. Watt is a Cardinal, A.J. Green is a Cardinal, James Conner is a Cardinal, Kenny Golladay is a Giant, and Andy Dalton is a Bear, and Julian Edelman retired? What am I missing? I feel like we didn't start the fire, Billy Joel, for the NFL. How is your NFL team looking for next year? Will they be the 2021 Tampa Bay Bucks, or the same old Jets, or the same old Lions, or the same old Bengals? These sound like a lot of good storylines for that Hall of Fantasy League coming out soon. Welcome back, everyone, into our Hall of Trivia on HQ, our sports and fantasy themed trivia show sponsored by the Hall of Fantasy League and the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company. My name is Jeff Eisenband, and I will be your chair umpire tonight. I was thinking about that line all week, and then here we are. We've been back with a whole new season of Hall of Fantasy, and tonight we are bringing you a general sports and fantasy themed game. First, let's head over to the Start Sit Fantasy Pick'em Pool. Each week, we give you 2 or more players for a specific sport. You pick the player who you think will have more fantasy points in that game, that week, whatever it may be. Get the most wins by the end of the contest, and you and whoever is left will split the grand prize of $10,000. That's right. That was our prize in the fall, and folks, KP Dowd, I'm almost pulling muscles yelling your name out here. You got that whole 10,000, all right? If it's not just one person, they'll split it. Last week, we gave you 3 golfers to choose from the Masters. Among them was Jordan Spieth, who scored the most points of the group as he finished T3. He edged the big dogs, Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau. Not always the long ball that'll get you the most fantasy points. This week, we return to the hardwood and are giving you 2 Dukies, 2 former Duke teammates, RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson. The Knicks and Pelicans play each other tomorrow night. Zion and RJ and Zion head-to-head. That's tomorrow night. You pick now. Who will have more fantasy points? Will be RJ Barrett or Zion Williamson? Barrett or Williamson? And I think I know. Yeah, I figured Asaf Zion would get more of the love out here. You know, he's the all-star. But RJ is hot, folks. Don't sleep on RJ Barrett. Got some laughing here in the studio from that one. By the way, at Hall of Trivia here, we are sponsored by the Hall of Fantasy League, which is now open for staking. That's right. The league includes 10 fantasy football teams representing 10 different cities across the United States. I see some of them there: Atlanta, New York, Boston, LA, others. You, the fans, will be able to stake your money on the teams. If the team you invest in wins, you will end the season with some extra dough. Wouldn't that be nice? Folks, the days of no one caring about your fantasy team are over. To learn more, visit thehofl.com today. There it is. Now, folks, let's do that trivia. I'm going to ask you 12 questions about sports and fantasy. If you get all the questions right, you and whoever is left, oh yeah, they'll split the prize pot of $2,500. You will put on the green jacket of tonight's version of Hall of Trivia. All right, so let us get to it, folks. It is time for Q1. Q1. Which country added its first Masters champion in 2021? Japan, Scotland, or South Korea? This is the Masters, the event that just took place over this past weekend. And this golf-crazed country had come close but never put on a green jacket until this month. Hideki Matsuyama went from prodigy to hero in his native Japan when tapping in his final putt. I also mentioned this in the intro, and 15,728 of you paying good attention. By the way, Tsubasa Kijitani won the Augusta National Women's Amateur 1 week earlier, the second time that event was contested. So a clean sweep for Japan this year at Augusta National. Q2. What country has the second greatest number of players on MLB rosters after the United States? Venezuela, Japan, or the Dominican Republic? Three big baseball countries here outside the US. MLB has become an incredibly global league, and while Japan and Venezuela have produced immense talent, no other nation has quite the presence of the Dominican Republic. That is your answer. The DR had 80 players on MLB rosters as of this past weekend. 14,315 of you are through, I don't want to do the math, but 1/6 of the way through, 2 out of 12, as we head to Q3. Which red-bearded Dodger has won the team's Ray Campanella Award for Spirit and Leadership a record 3 times? Justin Turner, Cody Bellinger, or Clayton Kershaw? Turner, Bellinger, or Kershaw? Now, last week I asked you a question about one Dodger taking a home run away from another when he ran backwards, and that answer was Justin Turner, who I called a bonehead. Well, not everyone liked that, including Justin Turner's wife, Courtney, a loyal H-Cutie who tweeted this. At Jeff Eisenband, welp, I played my last game of HQ Sports. Well, apparently this was discussed on her podcast, and people out there want Jeff is a bonehead t-shirts. Well, this week, Courtney, we've highlighted Justin Turner's spirit and leadership a record 3 times. And 12,794 of you, maybe you listened to Courtney's podcast. You knew what was going on, and you got this one right. Let's head to Q4. Which of these wrestlers retained their title at WrestleMania 37 this past weekend? Roman Reigns, Asuka, or Big E? Roman Reigns, Asuka, or Big E? Well, interference cost Big E the Intercontinental Championship, and Asuka fell to Rhea Ripley. Riddle lost his belt to Sheamus, but Roman Reigns piled Edge and Daniel Bryan on top of each other for a pin to keep the top belt. I don't know a ton about WWE, so I hope for the WWE fans I protected the sanctity of what you love there. 11,890 of you got that. By the way, I do know this. Bad Bunny was the star, right? Bad Bunny was the star of WrestleMania from what I saw. You see what that guy did? He's not even a wrestler by trade necessarily. Q5. The last 2 no-hitters in MLB were both caught by what catcher? Yadier Molina, Victor Caratini, or James McCann? Molina, Caratini, or McCann? Well, Alec Mills no-hit the Brew Crew for the Cubs last year, and this year Joe Musgrove just threw the first no-hitter in San Diego Padres history. Both were caught by backup catcher Victor Caratini. This guy is unstoppable. Only 12 regular season games between no-hitters. He's the no-no whisperer. 11,398 of you probably were aware of who threw the no-hitter over this past weekend. We're moving along through 5 questions. Nice work, folks. Q6. In the last 60 years, who is the only second-round draft pick to win NBA Rookie of the Year? Malcolm Brogdon, Dennis Rodman, or Draymond Green? Brogdon, Rodman, or Green? Well, before this, the last player outside the first round to win the Rookie of the Year was in 1958. And back then, there were only 8 teams. That was Woody Salisbury, who was selected in the 8th round. The modern player we were looking for is Malcolm Brogdon, who was selected 36th overall and managed to win that Rookie of the Year. I see some people tossing their way toward Draymond. He can recite every player that was taken before him, all the first-round guys, but he didn't win Rookie of the Year. We're halfway through the game, so players take a quick break. It's time for the halftime tweet and group. I asked you on Twitter, which sport that doesn't have defense should have defense? There were a lot of great answers, and a couple made my favorite list. First, from King Mike 52, archery. Ouch. Simply put, that's a great one. I saw people put javelin, darts, a lot of other potentially harmful sort of things. And then Coach Honia talked about cross country. The finish line just becomes championship Red Rover. I feel like that's competitive capture the flag almost to a point. Nice work, everyone. I appreciate those answers. Those made me laugh. Q7. And by the way, this was HQ Trivia tweeted something that inspired this. Q7. Which of these women is not one of the three tied for most MVPs in WNBA history? Diana Taurasi, Cheryl Swoops, or Lisa Leslie? And if you're doing the math, that means two of these are tied for top MVPs and one is not. And I would have gotten this wrong, honestly, if I did this question. The record for MVPs is 3. Lauren Jackson has 3, and so do Cheryl Swoops and Lisa Leslie. Taurasi is the league's all-time leading scorer, but she only has 1 MVP award. So she's the answer we were looking for. I think we're at the point, 5,059 of you, the majority, but it got close. We're at the point MVP doesn't convert to GOAT, right? Kobe, like Diana Taurasi, only had 1 MVP. Says a lot about sports history. Q8. Which NBA team had a single player grab 30 rebounds in a game this past week? Blazers, Lakers, or Heat? And I feel like a lot of you might be using an extra life after that one especially to stick around here. He's been tossed around the NBA the last couple of years, but on Saturday, he grabbed the ball before everyone else could, 30 times. Enes Kanter went nuts, going for a Blazers record 30 rebounds. Enes. 3 other players have done that in the last 20 years. Kevin Love, Dwight Howard, and Andrew Bynum. And look, enough of you either look that up or the Enes Kanter hive is big out here. And we're getting a little Shooter McGavin conversion to Enes Kanter here. I don't even think that was what I sent you as a clip. You just love the Shooter McGavin clips. Yeah, just because it's like they nailed it. They got it. You know, he nailed it. Q9. Asaf's talking to me right now. I don't think he realizes that you guys can't hear him. Q9. Which of these names did pitcher Devin Williams give to his devastating changeup? Heavy D, the Airbender, or the Dead Fish? These all sound like celebrations in FIFA. Cesar Valdez of the Orioles throws his changeup over 80% of the time, and that is the Dead Fish. Also a great celebration in FIFA. Devin Williams won Rookie of the Year in 2020 when he only gave up 1 earned run all season, and for that, he owes a lot to his Airbender changeup. He's not the first or the last Airbender. There will be more, but his changeup is 5,570 worthy of getting the right answer there. Nice work, everyone. The Airbender through 9. All right, we got 3 more. Q10. Who is the current MLB leader for fantasy points for a hitter? Ronald Acuna Jr., Nelson Cruz, or JD Martinez? Acuna Jr., Cruz, Martinez, MLB leader for fantasy points right now, current. Red Sox fans, you can exhale, kind of. After Mookie Betts won the World Series last year and this guy struggled, things looked a little ugly for Boston's front office and their decision making. But JD Martinez is fresh off a 3-home run game and he is the fantasy points leader right now in MLB. 472 average, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs. Woo! 2,400. Uh-oh! It went to Q10. And Asaf, that's when they got sacked. Or struck out. We might need a strikeout graphic here. Nelson Cruz is playing well, but not JD Martinez level well. He's your fantasy points for a hitter leader right now. Q11. But that's the hard to research is when they're fantasy points. That's the thing. Can't search those right there. Q11. What team acquired a former Hart Trophy winner just before this past week's NHL trade deadline? The Maple Leafs, the Islanders, or the Bruins? Toronto, the Island, or Boston? Well, in 2017 to 18, Taylor Hall won the Hart Trophy, the NHL's MVP, after tallying 93 points for the New Jersey Devils. Since then, he's been traded to Arizona, he signed with Buffalo, and now he's been traded again, this time to Boston. The Bruins was what we were looking for. 3,497 of you. It's not good for the Islanders or Maple Leafs that the Bruins in the East got this guy. Although the divisions are weird this year, so maybe it doesn't affect the Maple Leafs as much. Only 30 of you even considered that. It is now time for the final question. Don't be like the Sabres, giving up on the season and getting rid of Taylor Hall. Make it to the end, even though the Sabres were not going to make the playoffs. Q12. Who is the only American NBA player currently in the top 5 in total fantasy points this season? Julius Randle, Damian Lillard, or Russell Westbrook? Top 5 in total fantasy points this season so far. The current top 4 in total fantasy points are all European players. Nikola Jokic, Nikola Vucevic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Luka Doncic. The 5th might surprise you, although you may know his 2001 total minutes are more than any other player in the NBA. Julius Randle, and this is no Knicks bias, nothing here, this is a fact, is 5th in total fantasy points. That's a sack question. That was the 3rd least answered answer. Julius Randle, 925 of you are winners. Wow. Asaf, only 925 people out here on a winning streak like the Knicks, who won 3 straight. Listen, for those of you that said Lillard and Westbrook, average, oh yeah, they have more than Julius Randle. But Tom Thibodeau is going to throw Julius Randle out there and get him his fantasy points. Congrats to our 925 winners. Mary Carter, nice work. We got Anna Kaiser, Joey Miller, 4. Tame go. Who else we got? We got James 151. Well logo. Tommy 1234. Tatar. Dragon. And it cuts off there, but I see LeBron James is your avatar. We got Alex I1. Looks like Lexorn. Marina Sarah. Moon Pup. It's just Moo Pup. Joseph 766. Hey, do the rock. Incredible job. Congrats to our winners. Like I said, you're like the Knicks. You're like Justin Turner winning a World Series. You're like Hideki Matsuyama conquering all distractions en route to victory. Shout out to our producer, Derek Siskin, for recommending that last question, which ended up really being a great final Q12. We play Hall of Trivia every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and we have a ton of great sports games coming. Themed games coming as well. For more news and information on the Hall of Trivia, follow us on social at HQ Sports and at the HOF League. As always, a special thanks to our sponsors, the Hall of Fame Village and the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company. I have been your host, Jeff Eisenband. Until next time, have the best fantasy version of your week. Play like Julius Randle, score some goals, make some birdies, pin the competition, KO the opposition, and don't get vultured. I'll see you soon.